Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Wednesday, January 21st, 2026, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $ORIONNWSF or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got some NBA action. We got the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Milwaukee Bucks here in just a couple minutes. We're just wrapping up with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Charlotte Hornets. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Wednesday. And I'll be keeping tabs with the Kraken matchup, obviously, as well. And we'll see what we get here. This last minute of the Cavalier-Hornet game is stretched out an additional 15 minutes. So this game was already supposed to be over around 6:30, but again, we're getting down to kind of the nitty-gritty here. Last 10 seconds are left, 9.9, and then we'll get back into the action. Let's take a look at the thumb, cue up the music, and let's enjoy some NBA on this Wednesday evening. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Arguably the best player in the game, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, and on the right, one of the top 5 players normally when healthy, it is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Can't wait to see this matchup. We already know Milwaukee is a huge underdog in this particular game, 18-24, 9-10 at home. We haven't really seen Giannis with a team like this really in his career, and the Oklahoma City Thunder looking to go back-to-back as they won the championship last year. They look like the best team. The only team they really struggle with this year, for the most part, is the San Antonio Spurs with Wemby, 36-8, 16-5 on the road, and it would not be that shocking, to think that the Thunder can't make it to, the finals and win it again. And the team is built in a way, even when they have injury after injury, they still have enough to get it done. For example, Aaron Wiggins is out today with a groin. Both Jalen Williams are out with a back and a hamstring. Alex Caruso is out with the thigh, and Isaiah Hartenstein is out with the calf. So, if this was another team, that would be very detrimental, to not only the starters, but the bench and the overall depth, but not so much for OKC. And then for the Milwaukee Bucks, obviously the Damian Lillard experiment really didn't work out for them. Kevin Porter Jr. with the oblique is still out, Miles Turner with the ankle, and Taurean Prince with the neck. So they don't have as many injuries, but as far as Milwaukee is concerned, they need everyone and anybody to come up and step up. Looks like that first game just ended, so we should get to go here, I would assume, here just momentarily. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Wednesday. And again, we assume that this will be a blowout by the Thunder, but I'm just hoping, that Giannis can bring an all-star type of performance and they can at least be hanging around by, maybe the third or fourth quarter. OKC is favored to win by 12.5. And again, when you have guys like SGA, he's going to take over the game. And really the only way to even that out is if you end up getting him into foul trouble early with 3 fouls in the first half. And then if you're Giannis, you just need to be able to step up and do what you do. Try your best to be able to get a triple-double and get everyone else involved. But you also are probably going to have to put up 30-plus just to be able to kind of keep up. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, Milwaukee at home. But again, 18-24 record, 9-10 at home. And again, key pieces with Prince, Turner, and Porter out. But again, not as much, for obviously on that flip side with the Thunder. They got quite a few individuals out, but they got Holmgren, SGA, Dort, Wallace, and Mitchell. And then on the flip side, Giannis, Kuzma, Harris, Green, and Rollins. Let me get this refreshed here. And we'll be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on that dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Milwaukee early, trying to get the ball to Giannis down low, being double teamed early, so you kind of have an idea how they're going to be playing him. Pass into the corner, back at the top of the key. Pick and roll. Corner 3. In and out, no good. Mitchell with the rebound, and OKC up the floor. Top of the key. Back to Chet. 2-man game. And again, I'm definitely excited to see how this plays out with Chet and SGA running the two-man game. Dort, Wallace, and Mitchell, very good role players in the starting lineup. Pump fake, up and under with the left, and in and out, no good. Rebound by Giannis. Good defense there by OKC. Giannis at the top of the key. Pick and roll. Kicking it outside to the open three, and it is in and out and no good. OKC with the rebound, SGA. Gilgeous-Alexander, unstoppable. Chet, top of the three key, bang, is good. Nice job there by Chet Holmgren. An early lead here for OKC. Top of the key, stolen. Fast break. And a nice flush by OKC. AJ Mitchell there with that easy dunk. And just like that, 5-0 lead for the Thunder and a quick timeout for Milwaukee to try to regroup. (5-0) Thunder, 10:28 left in the first quarter after a quick Milwaukee timeout. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. And not really too shocked with the start there for the Thunder. You know, they're Vegas favorites by 12.5, but by the time, you know, this game is over, it definitely could end up being a 20 to 30 point win. And we haven't really seen Milwaukee, you know, with a record like this. And with Giannis, you know, there's going to be trade rumors and whatnot. And obviously the Damian Lillard Giannis experiment didn't work out. I don't think they anticipated Dame with injuries. But again, you know, the hype was real once Dame left Portland and then ended up joining the Bucks. But again, sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side. You know, sometimes, you know, you feel like the current team that you're on, you're only going to go so far. But I think one of those things for a lot of the free agents or superstars, they don't anticipate getting injured for their new team. And again, Milwaukee being 18-24 with a 9-10 record at home is shocking. And again, we definitely have seen kind of a 360 based on teams that used to be bad and teams that are at the top, and seeing, teams like the Detroit Pistons dominate now with Cade Cunningham. A few years back, they were one of the worst teams in the NBA. So a lot can change, if you got a good owner and a good GM and you end up bringing in the right pieces. And if you really look at the way the Thunder have built their team within the last 5 to 10 years, it's a beautiful thing. They ended up accumulating a lot of draft picks over the last few years. But the big thing is they were able to anticipate those draft picks, for a good fit. And most of them have actually, hit. And again, Chet Holmgren, SGA, Dort, Wallace, and Mitchell in the lineup right now. But again, a lot of individuals that are injured: Aaron Wiggins, Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Alex Caruso. But even with that being said, most teams that have 5 key contributors like that out, you would be, done. But with them, they just have the next man up mentality, and it's very impressive. Bucks with the full timeout. We're ready to get back into the action. Chance of the Bucks winning this is going to be very slim to none. I mean, even if Giannis put up a 50, 10, and 10, still probably wouldn't be enough. And that's really saying something. Last back-to-back NBA champions, Golden State in 2016, 2017. So it's not easy to do, but definitely the Thunder are built for it. And I really like the Spurs-Thunder matchups that we've been getting this season. It definitely could end up being a Western Conference Finals anticipation matchup. Giannis with the pick and roll. And it looks like they're going to call an offensive foul there. AJ Green with the offensive foul with the pick and roll with Giannis. And when it rains, it pours. Thunder at the top of the key. Running a quick pick and roll. Nice spin move with the left. Off the glass and good. There we go. A.J. Mitchell with that nice driving layup with the left. Corner three is good. Gary Harris with the 24-foot three. I love it. SGA on the other end, kicks it back outside, wide open. Dort. Let's go. Giannis back at the top of the key. Pick and roll. Going in with the left and good. Beautiful layup there by Giannis. Thunder bringing the pressure up the floor. Pick and roll with Chet Holmgren. Dort again for another three. Trying to get a little bit of a heat check there. In and out, no good. Giannis with the rebound. Giannis. Good ball movement. Nice pump fake. And stolen. SGA. Gilgeous-Alexander with the layup and one. No foul call there. Nice layup. Good body control by SGA. Oh, bad turnover there by Ryan Rollins. Another steal by SGA. Where's the foul? Wallace for three. In and out, no good. Giannis with the rebound. And again, they need to find some kind of rhythm here. Give and go to Giannis. Down low. Goes up with a dunk with the left hand. Looked like offensive foul, but no call there. And it looks like Giannis will be going to the line. Dort with the foul. Yeah, definitely looked like a push-off by Giannis, but, they are at home. We'll see how Giannis will do at the free throw line. Has been struggling a little bit as of late. First free throw from Giannis. In and out, no good. Struggles continue. Just be kind of weird to, have the Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis, but you can definitely tell he's not happy there anymore. And again, Giannis is not only going to have a huge game, a triple-double, but again, he's going to have to get a lot of his teammates going as well. Second free throw is up, and it rattles in and good. Chet Holmgren to SGA, bringing the ball up the floor. Pick and roll with Chet. Chet posting up, but they're not giving him the ball. Now he gets the ball. Baseline, double teamed on Chet. Swings it. Give me that good ball movement. SGA, clock running down. Nice job there by Dort. 17-foot pull-up jump shot. Pump fake at the top of the key. Floater, in and out, no good. Rebound by the Thunder. Kuzma missing that layup. Wallace with the rebound. Holmgren at the top of the key. Gets bumped. And that's going to be on the floor. And that's going to be a foul on Gary Harris. First foul for Harris. Pretty big lead here early on for the Thunder, but no surprise here. Holmgren having a great season, averaging 18, 8, and 2. SGA at the top of the key. Goes down to Chet. And Chet with a beautiful layup there, uncontested. Top of the key here from the Bucks. Ryan Rollins with the missing layup. Mitchell with the rebound. Chet at the top of the key. Reaches in by Giannis. No foul call. Pump fake. Pass down under. Stolen. Giannis coast to coast. And hopefully Chet is okay. Slides into the floor. And he stays down for a minute. Anytime you end up having a lanky, long arm, long bodied athlete, you always have to make sure that you got some good shoes on. And he actually stepped on the ball. He's really lucky he didn't sprain an ankle there. That could have been really devastating or worse. Daniel in the building, what's good? Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. SGA at the top of the key. Little two-man game here with him and Wallace. Pump fake. Mitchell, floater. Wow. AJ Mitchell with a 12-foot pull-up jump shot. Dort with the assist. That was clean. 18-6 Thunder. Not surprised one bit. Giannis down low, poked away. Isaiah Joe enters the game for SGA, giving him a little bit of a breather. Thunder defending the inbounds pass. Oh, no. That was a very weak pass to Giannis there. They got to be better. Thunder at the top of the key. See what kind of two-man game that they will run here since SGA is out with a breather for Isaiah Joe. Pick and roll at the top of the key. Good defense there by Milwaukee. Step back three, front rim, in and out, no good. Rebound by the Bucks and Giannis. Giannis at the top of the key, pick and roll. Runs over a Thunder player again, and finally we get the offensive foul call. Already had one that he kind of pushed off, and Giannis shakes his head in disagreement, but there's only so many times that you can use that offhand or just run over someone with your shoulder. You know, even though you are a superstar and you are at home, eventually, you know, the refs are going to, you know, give you the benefit of the doubt maybe on the first one, you know, but again, that was clearly a charge and the correct call. Portis enters the game for Ryan Rollins. Cole Anthony enters the game for Kyle Kuzma. TJ in the building, what's good? And again, you know, there's a few players that I really do enjoy, you know, watching. You know, I love Cooper Flagg, love Luka, I love Wemby, I love SGA, and I love Anthony Edwards, you know, besides just watching what we got with Denny this year being an all-star. And obviously has played good enough to start, but they're going to be going with the popular guys, and that's fine. Nice deep three there. Let's go. Nice job by Mitchell. Milwaukee at the top of the key. AJ Mitchell with already 9 points, 4 for 5 from the field. Portis for a three at the top of the key, in and out, and no good. Holmgren, corner three, in and out, no good. And Milwaukee on the break. 3-on-3, look for Giannis. Oh, he missed him. Giannis was wide open. And if he had a little bit more court awareness, that could have ended up being an alley-oop or a nice give and go. Williams enters the game for Dort. Nance comes in for Giannis. Jacob in the building, what's good? Appreciate that. You know, and again, you know, we got the Thunder and the Bucks obviously here, and the Kraken are on TNT right now and a few other networks as well, so I'm kind of keeping tabs with that. And, you know, obviously as we're wrapping down with football season, college football obviously over. Congratulations to Indiana. We're down to the NFC, AFC championship game, and then a few weeks after that, the Super Bowl. So we're going to have to do a little bit of hockey, a little bit of basketball, maybe a little bit of NASCAR, you know, in February, and then we'll get back to doing Mariners once we get that televised in March. Deep three, in and out, no good. Let's see what they decide to run. Lots of pick and rolls here early and often for both teams. Portis down low, asking for the post up. Double team down low, poked away. Clock running down. Deep three, front rim, in and out, no good. Chet Holmgren with the rebound. Chet going coast to coast with the left and gets the pretty bounce, and it's good. Chet is very athletic. You know, he may not be as exciting as like Wemby to watch game in and game out, but it definitely makes for a great 1-2 punch with SGA and Chet on the same team. Nice jumper there, pull-up jumper by Cole Anthony. Bobby Portis with the assist. That's crazy. SGA's only put up one attempt, and it shows he doesn't need to be a ball hog for this team to win. He doesn't need to score 30 every game for this team to win. And with all the people that they have out, it's just so impressive. Step back three is good. Oh my. AJ Mitchell is just on fire. Nance, wide open three in the other corner. Bang is good. Pete Nance, 23'3". Gary Harris with the assist. And that's going to be a full timeout here for the Thunder. And again, the Thunder have this ability to eliminate opponents so early in games. Sometimes it ends up being, in the second quarter. If you're lucky enough to hang around in the third or fourth quarter, maybe if you're like the Spurs. But a lot of times, things kind of get away from the opponent in the first quarter. And as we're looking right now, 26-11 already. And it's not like SGA has gone off for, 10 or 15 points at the moment. I mean, it's all of the other role players getting the job done. And then on top of that, Aaron Wiggins is out. Jalen Williams is out. Alex Caruso is out. Isaiah Hartenstein is out. Great role player there down low. And then the other Jalen Williams is out. So again, if you had any other team with that many good players missing, you would be in trouble. But again, the Thunder are, one of the deepest teams in the NBA, the deepest team in the NBA. And obviously their record proves that. 36-8. 16-5 on the road. And again, there's not too many teams that have given the Thunder problems. The Blazers towards the beginning of the year, obviously the Spurs have beaten them 3 times out of 4. But other than that, I mean, there really isn't too many teams that can match up player for player. But I do, hope that we end up getting the Spurs and the Thunder, Wemby and SGA in the Western Conference Finals. That would be awesome. And it's just kind of crazy, to see how good the Pistons have been, as of late, considering a few years back, they were one of the worst teams, maybe a bottom 5 team in the NBA, but Cade Cunningham and company. And it definitely shows you, over time, depending on your coach or the role players, or if your superstar finally, develops and takes his game to the next level, even teams that were in the bottom 5 over time can rise to the top. And it definitely is clear to see that the West is so much better than the East. I don't think there's any team in the East that would hang with any team in the West if we were talking about NBA Finals, even as good as the Pistons and a few of the other teams have been this year. But again, if you get to the dance, anything can happen. (26-11) with 3:09 left in the first quarter. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Thunder full timeout as we wait for the commercial break to end. That'll be a good experience for you. I mean, anytime you can see, Luka and LeBron in person, that'll be obviously an exciting time. Even though LeBron is obviously getting up there in age, Luka is the future and whatnot. And, Cooper Flag, obviously they have to be very blessed, that after, the whole Luka debacle of him going to LA, they ended up getting the first pick, and obviously it seems, kind of rigged a little bit and whatnot with the NBA, draft and the ping pong balls and whatnot. But again, what did they think? Kyrie and Anthony Davis are injury prone, so they're not going to get a whole lot of time with Cooper Flag, and those guys are out for quite a bit of time. And, at least it gives a chance for Flag to shine, but again, not the greatest move there for the Dallas Mavericks. Bucks at the top of the key. See what kind of pick and roll that we get here. Giannis still getting a breather. Fade away. Ooh. Cole Anthony makes a 7-foot fadeaway jump shot. That was beautiful. Top of the key. Pump fake. Good closeout there by Milwaukee. Williams, 7'3", missed. Front rim. Milwaukee on the break. Bobby Portis. One spin move and another floater is good. 12-foot jumper there by Bobby Portis in that turnaround jump shot. See if they can swing this around to Isaiah Joe and a few of the others here. Two-man game here at the top of the key. Joe open for three. Bang, it's good. 26-foot three-point jumper. Brandon Carlson with the assist. And stolen. A.J. Mitchell has been everywhere, offensively, defensively. I mean, he's been the man here early. And that's what the Thunder do. You know, it's not always going to be SGA and, Chet Holmgren every single moment of making those big plays. And A.J. Mitchell, after his great performance here in the first quarter, is going to go to the bench. SGA back in. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Really special. Very good chance for them to be able to repeat. Hell, they're good enough to not only repeat, if they end up doing it this year, they could go for a three-peat. And again, I wouldn't really say that about too many teams, but they're definitely built differently. Joe, jumper is good. 17-foot jumper there by Isaiah Joe. Bucks at the top of the key. They need to get Giannis back in the game. Nice pass. Down low, Nance with the spin move. In and out, no good. And the Thunder with the rebound. SGA at the top of the key. Gilgeous-Alexander says, get off me with the left hand. Layup is good. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy for SGA. Bucks bringing it up the floor, already getting pounded here early in the first quarter. Wide open three. And Nance with the big 27-foot three. Gary Trent Jr. with the assist. First quarter winding down, and it's been all Thunder. Alley-oop! Oh, baby, SGA with the alley-oop to Brandon Carlson, making it look easy out there. 37-18 Thunder. Wow. Baseline. Good ball movement here by the Bucks. Trent for the three. In and out, no good. And Brandon Carlson with the rebound. And that's what makes the Thunder so special. They literally could have any role player come in off the bench, and you know that they're going to be able to contribute in some kind of way. You know, whether it's, rebounding, blocking, and just being a defensive presence and a grinder down low, or guys that can come in and, give you threes and jump shots and occasionally some pretty good defense as well. Very impressed. SGA, pump fake, and goes into the defender. And do we get a foul call here? Oh, it looks like they're going to get Kuzma right at the buzzer. SGA kind of leaned into him. But again, when you can pump fake and the defender lands on you and even lean in a little bit, more times than not, they're going to give it to the superstar, and they're going to give you the superstar call. And that's going to be a foul on Kyle Kuzma as time has expired, but SGA to the line for two. But again, SGA, really fun to watch. Wemby, really fun to watch. Anthony Edwards, fun to watch. Luka, Cooper Flagg as a rookie. Even Con Kneppel in that last game that we watched for the Hornets. They may not be a very good team, but Kneppel is right there with Cooper Flagg as far as like rookie of the year candidates of playing really well. Still, waiting for the Joker to come back. So obviously there has been some pretty major injuries, with Kyrie and Anthony Davis and the Joker and a few others. But, there's still enough stars in the league to, make it somewhat interesting. But, it really is going to ramp up after we get post All-Star break. First free throw is missed. And they ended up doing a review. Replay supports the call. And it's SGA. He's going to get those calls. They put 0.2 back on the clock. SGA with the second free throw is good. And then Kuzma gets the ball and chucks it from 90 feet. And that airballs. And that's going to be the end of the first quarter. 38-18 Thunder. But again, if Wemby is on, I can do Wemby. If the Thunder are on, I can do that. Anthony Edwards is a fucking G. Those games are easy to call and fun to watch. And then at some point, if we can get a little Steph Curry for the Warriors, we get a little bit of Cooper Flag, and I believe coming up in a day or two, I'm not sure if it's tomorrow or the next day, I do believe the Warriors and the Mavericks go at it, even though the Mavericks aren't very good, but at least it gives you a chance to see the guy that more than likely is going to get Rookie of the Year, the next superstar in the league, Cooper Flag, who I really love a lot. Had a great career at Duke, even though they weren't able to win the championship last year in March Madness. But again, we're getting it to this point of year. Football obviously is kind of coming to an end, and obviously NHL and the NBA are in full swing. End of the first quarter, 38-18 Thunder. Looks like Kraken and the Islanders are knotted up 1-1. Let me see if I can pull up. All right, give me one sec. Just trying to get this going. And hopefully this won't slow me down. End of the first quarter, 38-18 Thunder. And they make it look easy when they're not even trying, and again, that's really the scary part. If they're really fully on, this is maybe one of the only teams in the NBA, that could throw up, 50 points in a quarter, and again, it's a very rare thing, but, they have the talent and the depth to definitely do it. All right, I got the Islanders and the Kraken, which is on TNT here tonight as well. So I got that here on the side. Hopefully the Kraken will be able to get the victory. Really rough road trip, losing 4 out of 5. So we'll see how that goes. And then obviously we got the AFC NFC Championship game this weekend on Sunday. Broncos and Patriots, Seahawks and Rams. I can't wait. More than likely it's going to be Patriots, Seahawks, or Patriot Rams in the Super Bowl, it seems like. And I can't wait to be able to see those and call those games as well. Patrick Waugh, the famous goalie there, being the head coach for the Islanders. Hopefully the Kraken can get back onto a nice win streak here. All right, looks like everything is good on my end for the TNT side. All right, here we go. Started the second quarter. SGA floater alley-oop is good. Brandon Carlson with another alley-oop. Gosh. SGA's got great vision. Reach in foul there. Barnheiser with the foul. Milwaukee inbounds the ball. Little two-man game with Nance. They got to get Giannis back in the game. Nance with the floater. In and out, no good. Offensive board is good. SGA at the top of the key. Pick and roll. Oh. Isaiah Joe with a bad turnover there, and a beautiful layup by Bobby Portis. A little bit of a run here. Portis to the line. After that, Isaiah Joe foul. First free throw by Portis is good. 13 points per game there for Bobby Portis, but again, they need a hell of a lot more. SGA at the top of the key. Nice pass. Good ball movement here by the Thunder, and then tipped away. It looks like that's going to be a reach-in foul by, Cole Anthony? Thunder inbounding the ball. SGA. Step back. Crossover. Step back. Big three. Bang! It's good. SGA. 27-foot three. That was pretty. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Thunder. SGA at the top of the key. They're going down low to Portis. Swings it to the other side of the court. And good. Nice job there by Cole Anthony. 22-foot, 3-foot jumper. Thunder on the other end now. SGA at the top of the key. Pick and roll. Williams down low. Nice pass. Good defense here by the Bucks. Shot clock winding down. Fadeaway jumper. And that's an air ball. Shot clock violation, but they let him play. Portis at the top of the key. Kuzma's there. In and out for the three. No good. SGA. And Williams with an athletic layup there. That was beautiful. Assisted by SGA. Kuzma on the other end with a 1-foot layup, assisted by Cole Anthony. Getting a little bit more faster pace at this point. SGA with the crossover. Kicks it back out. Wide open for Carlson. In and out and over the backboard and turns the ball over. All right, Ryan Rollins enters the game for Gary Trent Jr. Bucks running a double pick and roll. Corner three. In and out, no good. Williams with the rebound. SGA. Takes the pick and roll. Hesitation. Goes with his left. Off the glass and good. Beautiful layup there by SGA. Milwaukee back down on the other end. Swings it. Ryan Rollins with a big three at the top of the key, assisted by Cole Anthony. Got about 8 minutes left here before halftime. And a nice little run by Milwaukee, but they're just trying to keep pace. Williams, corner three, bang, is good. Assisted by SGA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Cole Anthony, and throws it baseline to Bobby Portis, and that is a turnover. OKC ball, 50-34, Thunder lead. SGA at the top of the key, pump fakes twice, hands the ball off. Good ball movement here by the Thunder. Deep three, in and out, no good. Rollins with the rebound. Rollins. There we go. Cole Anthony, top of the key. Bang! 25-foot three-point jumper. Pete Nance with the assist. And then the Thunder now with a full timeout. .732 left here before halftime. 50-34 Thunder. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dodo train, and 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it. Bye-bye. SGA so far, 4 for 4 from the field, 10 points, 1 rebound, and 7 assists. And again, they haven't had Giannis come back in the game, which is a little odd. He only has 7 minutes played, 3 points, 1 for 1. Obviously, field goal wise with 4 rebounds and 1 for 2 from the free throw line. But again, if you're, I guess, unless you're going to have Giannis play the rest of the game, but a little odd that he hasn't got back into the game just yet. But Thunder with a full timeout. 7:32 left in the second quarter. 50-34 Thunder. All right. And hopefully Giannis will be able to come in the game and make it a little bit more competitive. You know, again, the Thunder were, big, obviously favorites coming in on the Vegas line by 12.5. But, we've seen the Thunder blow out teams in the first quarter, second quarter, having the game already being over, early third quarter. So, again, I don't see any scenario where, Milwaukee comes back, even if they had a flipped record of 24-18 instead of being 18-24. But again, the Damian Lillard experiment didn't work. And again, Giannis could be traded at the deadline, which is kind of a crazy thing to say, but it kind of feels like the window that Milwaukee had ended. And obviously they got their championship with Giannis, so mission accomplished. But at some point, it may be realistic where, you might have to just move on and see what you can get for him, especially if he's not happy there anymore. And if you've watched any Bucks games this year, or Giannis specifically, a lot of times when he's on the bench, it's not very good. Obviously it definitely looks like the morale is down. And again, Milwaukee is normally one of the top teams in the East. He's not used to being 18-24, but again, it's more than just him. Definitely is a team issue. We're getting ready for the commercial break here to end. Longest 20-point streaks in NBA history. And SGA getting close to Wilt Chamberlain, who has 126. SGA's at 114. That's fucking incredible. And again, with the amazing talent that we have in the league, even though LeBron and KD are getting older, I love watching Luka. I love watching Anthony Edwards. I love watching Wemby and SGA. I love Cooper Flagg as a rookie. But again, we are definitely in good hands, with SGA at the top. And again, pretty amazing stuff to have that kind of consistency where you're catching up to Wilt Chamberlain. That's wild. Thunder inbound the ball, double pick and roll, SGA at the top of the key. Finally, Giannis is back in the game. Good pass there. Open three, and good. Wow. Dort with another three. Beautiful assist there by SGA. Top of the three key for Milwaukee. In and out and no good. Ryan Rollins with that 20-foot missed three-point jumper. SGA back on the other end. Double teamed on SGA. Somebody's open. Top of the key three. In and out, no good. Dort misses that 27-foot three-point jumper. Nice rebound by Giannis, coast to coast. Help him out. Pick and roll with Giannis. Give it back to him. Wide open. Kuzma. Three-point jumper, no good. And AJ Mitchell enters the game for SGA. So SGA will be on the bench for the rest of the first half. Give him a nice breather. (53-36) OKC. And again, they are the easiest team to watch in the league, no matter who's in. That's how good they are. So much depth, no egos, no selfishness. And again, that's how you win championships. Chet? Baseline jumper, in and out, no good. Misses that 16-footer. Rollins with the beautiful layup. Nice job by Ryan Rollins with that left. Less than 6 minutes to go here in the first half. Thunder in firm control. Giannis has been on the bench for a majority of the half, which is a little mind-boggling, but 16-5 on the road for Thunder. What a nice layup with the left. Wow. Nice job by Williams. Back on the other end here for the Bucks. Little pick and roll. Jumper. In and out, no good. Thunder bringing it down on the other end. Open three. Portis with the rebound. Corner three. In and out, no good. Thunder with the rebound now. Williams with that defensive board. AJ Mitchell. Wow, with the floater. And good. And that's going to be a full timeout for Milwaukee. Man, they'd have no answer for AJ Mitchell today. He has been balling. 14 points, 6 for 7 from the field, 2 rebounds and 2 assists. He's been unguardable here today. And again, a lot of people would assume, it's just going to be the SGA Holmgren show. But again, they're very well-rounded, more well-rounded than any other team in the NBA. Chet with 7, Dort with 8, Mitchell with 14, Williams with 9, Joe with 5. It's very rare to see that type of unselfishness. Usually you're going to have a couple guys that are in double digits, and then you got a couple guys at like 2 or 4 points. But it's very rare to have most of the guys that come in, being at 5 or 6 at the very least, and then other guys in double digits. But again, when you're the best team in the NBA, that's what happens. 36-8 record, 16-5 on the road. That's number 1 in the NBA. And the Milwaukee Bucks 18-24, which is just crazy. You've never seen them this bad ever in the Giannis era. 9-10 at home. I mean, how do you go 9-10 at home? But I guess that's how you become 18-24 overall for Milwaukee. But it definitely feels like Giannis is leaving. He's not happy. Organization isn't happy. But the real question is what are you going to get for him? And realistically, if you can get a few, pieces, that would be great. But it may not be a quote-unquote even trade, but it really just depends on, how much, that they can get from Giannis. But it feels like the Giannis era is definitely coming to an end. And, it definitely didn't turn out to maybe what Giannis thought, where they were going to be winning multiple championships. But at least he ended up getting his 1 ring. And, again, a lot of guys, don't even get one. So, sometimes you have to be a little bit humble. But depending on where Giannis goes, there's a good chance that he might be able to rack up another ring, depending on what team he goes to. And again, the openings of a few of the teams that are interested, we will see, what the deal ends up being at the deadline. Yeah, and again, I haven't seen, Giannis as emotional. You've seen him tear up and being emotional on the bench more than I've ever seen in his entire career. But again, we've never seen Milwaukee go 18-24. We've never seen him being 9-10 at home at this point of the season. And again, I feel, he's not giving his full effort, and again, if you're not happy there and the organization isn't happy and you're not giving 100% effort, then at some point, everyone acknowledges, his superstar status when he's healthy. But again, it just seems like it's inevitable that he will be playing on another team at some point in the near future. And we will see if Milwaukee will ever get to the heights of when they had prime Giannis. But it really depends on what they can get in a haul in return for him. We will find out. .434 left in the second quarter. 57-36 Thunder. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Agreed, Nifty, agreed. Giannis only with 3. Barely any playing time up to this point. Nice pass. Corner 3. In and out, no good. Mitchell with that rebound. Thunder back at the top of the key. Up and under, off the glass, in and out, no good. Fast break here. 3-on-3. Nolan. Bad turnover there by Cole Anthony. Cason Wallace with the steal. Chet down low on Giannis. Reaches in, and that's going to be a foul. Chet Holmgren to the line. Yeah, and again, we have some key injuries, obviously, in this particular game. You know, obviously, Taurean Prince, Miles Turner, and Kevin Porter Jr. are out. But again, on the Thunder, they got Aaron Wiggins out, both Jalen Williams out, Alex Caruso, and Isaiah Hartenstein. You know, if it was any other team with 5 or 6 guys out like those guys for the Thunder on another team, you would be screwed. So, again, shows you what kind of depth the Thunder have. It's very impressive. First free throw is good. Second free throw by Chet. Very good free throw shooter for a big man, and is good. And again, for Milwaukee to be able to shine, you know, Bobby Portis, Giannis, and a lot of others need to step up, Cole Anthony included. Giannis at the top of the key, double teamed. Off the dribble. Portis in the corner for 3 is good. 23-foot three-point jumper. Giannis with the assist. Thunder at the top of the key. Front rim, in and out, no good. Williams with that 14-foot pull-up jumper, front rim. Giannis on the other end. Swing it. Corner 3. And it's good. Nice job there by Cole Anthony. Ryan Rollins with the assist. Starting to, you know, kind of cut into the lead a little. They're still down by a lot, though, but you're seeing a little bit more of a team effort by the Bucks here in the second quarter. Alley-oop. Turned over. 3-on-1. Fast break. Giannis on the open floor. Layup with the right hand on the left side is good. They've cut into the lead. Still down by 16, but that's better than being down by 26. Top of the key. Floater. In and out, no good. Offensive rebound is good. And Williams makes the tip shot there and gets fouled. First offensive rebound of the game with 2:40 left. Wow, that's crazy. Kenrick Williams there going to the line. All right, SGA coming in here for the last 2 minutes. You know, make sure they can finish strong, which makes sense. In and out, no good. Giannis with the rebound. Push, Giannis. Giannis getting the full court press. Backing down, going one-on-one. Travel. Flips it to Portis. Layup is good. Should have been a travel there on Giannis, but no call. SGA at the top of the key. SGA with the crossover. Floater off the glass. In and out, no good. Tipped and good. SGA following his own miss. Great effort there by SGA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Corner 3 by Anthony, no good. Williams with the rebound. SGA pushing, kicks it out. Nice ball movement. Corner 3, bang, is good. Williams with the assist. Wow. AJ Mitchell having himself one of the best halves of the year. Looks like they're going to give him a 2 on that. Foot on the line. 16 points, 7 for 10 from the field. And a lot of that was when SGA was on the bench. Floater by Portis is good. Giannis with the assist there. Keep feeding AJ. SGA and AJ right now, unstoppable. Down to the last minute here before halftime. Up and under. Oh my God. Wow. And one with the floating jumper. Ridiculous. I mean, he's in his bag right now. AJ Mitchell into the defender. Goes in there with that smooth left-handed shot. Chris Mullin would be proud. Beautiful. Second foul on Anthony. season. He's averaging 14 points. He's got 18 here in the first half. Free throw is no good. Giannis with the board. We're down to about the last minute left. Giannis up and under. And it looks like we're going to get a reach-in foul. I think Dort with the reach-in foul. Kyle Kuzma enters the game for Cole Anthony. And Barnhizer comes in for Dort. Last minute here to go, and we'll see if the Thunder can kind of put the foot on the gas. And again, I haven't seen too many elite teams make it look so easy, on both sides of the floor. And again, this Thunder team is very special. Kuzma in the corner. Give it to Giannis. Giannis posts up. Pump fake up and under on Chet. It is good. Nice layup there. Ryan Rollins with the assist. SGA here at the top of the key. Less than a minute to go here before halftime. Let's see what SGA does here in isolation. Crossover. Pulls up for three. Bang! All net. 25-foot three-point jumper by SGA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander making it look easy. Unbelievable. Giannis on the other end. Gets caught up. Pump fake. And turns it over. Nance with the bad pass. Barnhizer with the steal. SGA, top of the key. Shake and bake. Tipped. And I think he stepped out of bounds. Okay. Turnover. Thunder. All right, Milwaukee's going to have the last shot here. No, I'm very satisfied. I've definitely invested a lot of time and energy and blood, sweat, and tears, on YouTube. Now, do I feel like I could call, games like on a high school, college, or professional level? Yeah, I think I could, but again, I've already put so much time and energy and blood, sweat, and tears to this channel that I'm completely satisfied. If this is what I do, this is my dream. So, but again, if I could get recognized by the Seattle Mariners as being the Seattle Mariner live play-by-play and reaction, streamer, because I'm pretty much representing, that team on YouTube. And, at some point, in the social media world that's covering, teams and whatnot. But, to be acknowledged would be nice. First free throw is no good. Rolls in and out for Giannis. I appreciate that. And again, I feel it takes, a lot of skill, to not only do something really well for one sport, but to be able to do it well in many sports is not common. Even guys like Joe Buck that are professional, I think he's more of a baseball voice, but he can do football, and again, not a lot of guys can do multiple sports. There's no doubt about that. Free throw is good. At SGA pushes it up the floor. Corner three, in and out, no good. And that's going to be halftime. Kuzma with the deep shot again at the end of the first quarter and end of the second. And again, this could end up being a much bigger lead than 18. Could have been 30, but again, a good effort by Milwaukee in the second quarter. But AJ Mitchell with 18, SGA with 15, Kenrich Williams there with 11. And again, it's the role players for the Thunder on top of the guys that they already have injured. And again, it's just kind of wild that they have so many good players out and they're still able to dominate. And there's not many teams that you feel that could score 40 or 50 in a quarter, but the Thunder are one of them. No Aaron Wiggins, no Jalen Williams, no Alex Caruso, no Isaiah Hartenstein, no Jalen Williams. I mean, if those five guys were healthy, I can only imagine what the score would be at halftime right now. It'd be a hell of a lot more than 69, I'll tell you that. But Kevin Porter Jr., Miles Turner, and Taurean Prince out for the Bucks. But again, it just feels like it's just not a good fit with Giannis and the Bucks anymore. Doesn't seem like he's happy. Doesn't seem like he's really as productive. Obviously these guys are millionaires, and we know Giannis at one point or another was one of the top 3 players in the league at one point, maybe even the best player in the league a few years back. He ended up getting his championship, wanted to get one with Damian Lillard over there instead of Portland because we weren't really investing in other guys, which is understandable. But any superstar that leaves to join another superstar, sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side, not because the two guys can't play together, but sometimes injuries. And again, that's exactly what happened to Dame. Ends up coming back to Portland, still injured. And now, Giannis is probably going to be dealt at the deadline. And again, we've never seen a Milwaukee Bucks team with Giannis with a below 500 record. 18-24, 9-10 at home, getting emotional on the bench on almost every game. And again, it's going to be weird to see Giannis in a different uniform, but depending on where he goes, he might be able to get another chip under his belt, depending on if he goes to a team that needs a big man or just, ends up kind of joining a super team that adds one more piece to, like Durant, when he came over to the Warriors when they had Draymond, Clay, and Steph already, kind of turned them into a super team. That could be possible, for Milwaukee, depending on their trade partner. But again, we will see. But we are at halftime, 69-51 Thunder. I appreciate that. I put a lot of time and energy, into everything. So I do appreciate that. Well, obviously you haven't been watching the Milwaukee Bucks or understanding what's going on. So, it's a very realistic thing, maybe not a few years back, but, there is a very good possibility that he does get dealt. But either you're in the know or you're not. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. $69.51 Thunder. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Delusional. And that makes it even worse, is that if you are from Milwaukee and you still can't understand that he is not happy. And again, just because you're from that area, you should know if you're from that area that it legitimately could happen. Nobody is untouchable in any sport. At some point or another, it's not what have you done for me in the past, it's what have you done for me lately. But again, some people recognize this in sports and other people do not. Now, obviously, is it going to be a fair trade on what they get in return for Giannis, even if they get 2 or 3 players? Probably not. They're probably going to get a bunch of role players. But at this point, sometimes you got to be able to alleviate the money. This is a business, depending on where he's at with his contract. And then on top of that, all good things come to an end. And again, it's not like you're going to necessarily play your whole career, in one location. It's very rare, to do that, especially in the NBA. It's not going to be something where, you have a very, very small percentage of all-star, superstar, Hall of Famers that start their career somewhere and then end their career somewhere. And yeah, they may end up, getting traded or request a trade. And then at the end of their career, kind of like Dame, trying to come back, and then you can retire with the team and whatnot. But, again, I guess some people watch sports and some people do not. So, it is what it is, But again, Giannis is a big name. But again, when's the last time that we've seen Milwaukee, be 18-24? When's the last time we've seen Milwaukee not be a top 3 or top 4 team in the East? When's the last time that they were 9-10 at home? When's the last time you've seen Giannis crying on the fucking sideline almost every other game on the bench? It's just not something that we're used to seeing. So obviously, if you're seeing, him being emotional, disgruntled, and obviously can't handle this record, at some point or another, when the trade value is still high, I mean, you want to make sure that you can get the most for him, rather than waiting for him to get injured and then the trade value ends up being much lower. If he ends up, tearing an ACL or having an Achilles, then that trade value goes pretty down, even for a guy that's got a great reputation like Giannis, and the league doesn't go through him anymore. The league now is SGA, it's Wemby, It's fucking Luka, right? It's Anthony Edwards, and again, guys like KD and LeBron, they're still relevant, being older, but again, it's like some of these guys are getting a wave of players, like Cooper Flagg and others are coming in. And again, you're still going to be a great player when healthy. Don't get me wrong. Giannis is still an entertaining player, but again, it just doesn't seem like, the team is on the same page. He's not on the same page. He doesn't seem motivated. If you watch games from Milwaukee, and again, most of the time, when he's on the floor, he's trying to be positive out there, but again, emotions don't lie. You just can't be on the floor, giving it your all, and then kind of being pouty, on the sideline and whatnot, and everyone thinking that, oh, that's normal, that's okay. No, it's not. So, and again, sometimes trades come out of nowhere where you have a horrible owner or a horrible GM, and you end up trading Luka from the Mavericks to the Lakers, and they got their next Hall of Famer after LeBron retires, thinking that it's going to be a good move with Anthony Davis and Kyrie. But anyone that has a fucking brain would have realized Kyrie and Anthony Davis, the brow, are injury prone. So that was never going to work. And then all of a sudden, the Mavericks get handed the number 1 pick. So I kind of feel, we hear about all of the point shaving and the, cheating and scandals in sports and whatnot, with the NBA draft and the ping pong balls. It always seems a little sketchy, but all of a sudden you end up trading away your franchise guy in Luka, and then right away you initially just boom, get Cooper Flagg in the number 1 pick. Seems a little sketchy there. And again, I know Dallas is happy with, the next great white hype that they have, obviously, there in Dallas, but obviously, if you're a Laker fan, you got Luka and LeBron. And then obviously once LeBron retires, you're still going to be relevant with Luka, and then you can build around him. So, and again, obviously, if you make the wrong move at the wrong time, eventually you're going to be fired. And that's exactly what happened in Dallas. But, again, the league is shaped in a certain type of way where if you can accumulate a lot of draft picks and make, really smart decisions with trades like the Thunder did within the last 5 to 10 years, it took a while, to get to this point, but they've hit on all their draft picks. They've been hitting on their role players. And obviously you saw SGA blossom, from a top 15 player in the NBA to arguably the best player in the NBA. And then Chet, obviously a lot of promise with him, but there was kind of like the injury concern. Anyone that's kind of lanky and big like Chet and Wemby, there's always a chance for injuries to happen, and then the season ends up being cut short. But when Chet is out there, he can do everything. He may not be as flashy or as exciting as Wemby, but again, he's a winner and he knows how to play with SGA. But I think really the most exciting thing about the Thunder is the next man up approach, where it's not just those two guys, SGA and Chet, that have to dominate to win. Like, they don't even need to both score 20 points for the Thunder to win a game. Now, obviously, if Chet gets over 20 and SGA's over 30, you have other players that can step up and score 10, 15, 20 as well. And there's not a whole lot of teams. Again, when you're looking at the scoreboard, you got, Holmgren with 8, SGA with 15. No one anticipated AJ Mitchell with 18 in the first half when he averages 14, for a full game. So Isaiah Joe and everyone else that they have is just, every player complements, the backup. And again, I haven't seen too many teams, that have been built this way. Maybe, teams back in the day with like the Pistons, pre-Bad Boys and Bad Boys, when they had the Chauncey Billups and the Rip Hamilton and, Tayshaun Prince and the Ben Wallace and the Rasheed Wallace, and then going back with the Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas and the Microwave and John Sally and Dennis Rodman and Bill Laimbeer. There's certain type of grittiness that you have to be able to have, but also the unselfishness, where it doesn't have to be one guy. We know SGA, is the superstar, right? But again, he doesn't play if he's like the ball hog. Like he has to be the guy that has to get 50 shots up, that he has to be the guy that ends up scoring 30 to 60 every fucking night. And I think that's what makes him special. He realizes that, this is a team game. He's going to have games where he's going to have his 30, 40, 50, and maybe 60-point games. But he lets the game kind of come to him instead of him forcing it. And now when the team struggles, you want your best player with the ball to kind of get your team back into the flow. And that's for any good team in the NBA. But, a very special team. And it would not shock me one bit if they end up repeating. Hopefully we end up getting the Spurs and the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals, because I would love to see Wemby and the Thunder and, go at it. And the Thunder have dropped 3 out of 4 with the Spurs. So they kind of have the formula on how to beat the Thunder, and maybe the only team that can. The Blazers ended up beating them early early in the year for their first loss, but the only team that's consistently beat the Thunder this year are the Spurs. So hopefully we'll be able to get that SGA-Wemby rivalry cooking, and that's good for the NBA, with all things considered on where the game is and now at this time, in 2026 and beyond. Yeah, I mean, the Kobe and the Steph, well, I mean, Kobe is Kobe, Jordan is Jordan. But as far as like Steph is a shooter, and whatnot. But again, you do have guys that are similar based off, maybe a different type of position, and a different type of skill set, But I think Anthony Edwards is amazing. Luka is amazing. Wemby, obviously, for a big man, is amazing. SGA is doing crazy things. And especially if SGA, starts racking up, championship after championship, then he's going to be in the same category as some of the other, elite players that have played this game. So, it's very possible by the time that the Thunder and SGA in his career is done, he might have 3 or more championships under his belt. And if that's the case, he's going to be in the same category with a lot of those other legends and GOATs. That's facts. I didn't really think Chauncey was that great. I think a lot of us Blazer fans that live here in the Pacific Northwest, he's a defensive-minded coach, but we never really played good defense. Now, Denny is an all-star this year, which is great, and we have Sharp and a few others. Klingon has been getting better and better, but I honestly, believe that it could have been anybody, Splitter or any other assistant, and they would have played hard for that guy. It's just kind of a shame that Billups got cut up with the gambling and whatnot. But I think a lot of us Blazer fans, we were kind of hoping to get rid of him a year or two previous to the scandal. Because again, when we first got him, okay, there's a little bit of excitement. Okay, he's going to bring defense. We're going to be good. And yeah, we've drafted defensive guys, but if you've actually watched the Blazers play, we're incredibly young, and again, we finally have been able to be able to get a little bit of rhythm, but injuries have just been brutal this year. We didn't even have a point guard for like 2 months. Dame is injured, Scoot's been injured, Drew Holiday was injured for months. So it's like, imagine your favorite team not having a point guard for 2 months. You're probably not going to be very good, but we were hoping, that we could be somewhere in the 7, 8, 9, 10 seed. And that's kind of where we're sitting. We finally hit 500. And, if we can get some consistency and some healthy bodies back, I don't think we're going to go on a deep run, but it's kind of exciting that the Blazers, are starting to get to be a little bit relevant, and Denny is an all-star. So obviously that's going to be exciting to be able to see him in the game. He deserves to start, but obviously if you look at the starting 5 in the West, it's a popularity contest. But if you're looking at skill set, the only other player that's putting up, 35-5 kind of numbers besides SGA is Denny, and again, the Blazers, have had so many injuries. There's been a few more opportunities for Denny to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more quote unquote selfish, to be able to go at the rim and whatnot. And, there are times where I want Denny to pass the ball a little bit more, but sometimes nobody else can make shots and other guys are hurt. So sometimes you just got to go with your hot hand. But, we are happy of where the team is going, with defense and rebounding, drafting Yang, Donovan Klingon getting better. Again, we didn't really know about the Jeremy Grant situation with the salary. But again, once we get everyone back healthy, it should be pretty exciting. Dame and Scoot and then getting, Shaedon Sharp on the same page, with Grant and Klingon and everyone else. So, and again, once we get those healthy bodies back, maybe we'll be able to do something, this season. But again, we still got quite a ways to go before, we're a top dog. And again, we may never be a top dog, just based on how deep the West has been. So. Halftime here, 69-51, Thunder with an 18-point lead. And again, I'm not sure if anyone anticipated A.J. Mitchell going off for 8 for 11 for 18 points, but that's the 18-point lead that you have right now. So again, if he doesn't go off, maybe this game is a little bit closer. But we are going to be getting back into the second half here momentarily. Storm in the building, what's good? Fonzo in the building, what's good? And we'll find out, is there a possibility that Milwaukee doesn't get a good enough deal and they don't trade Giannis? Of course, but at some point, you have to make sure you trade a guy that's not happy, and if the organization isn't happy, to get something in return. So, I mean, it would be weird to see him in a different uniform, but again, if he ended up joining another team, that needed him, maybe he could end up getting another chip under his belt, and I know that's what he really wants. So I know he would rather do it in Milwaukee, or at least that was the case, in previous years. But again, he hasn't gone 18-24 and 9-10 at home ever. So, all right, here we go. Start of the third quarter. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Stolen here early by Milwaukee. Giannis at the top of the key. Portis swings it. Floater is good. Ryan Rollins with the 15-foot step-back jump shot. Portis with the assist. SGA at the top of the key. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Cason Wallace. 3-point. Jumper in the corner is good. Bang! Just like that, right out of the gates. First points of the game for Cason Wallace. Down low to Giannis. Reached in. And it looks like that's going to be a foul on the Thunder. Alley-oop, in and out, no good. Corner three from Portis, no good. Fast break, SGA. 1-on-3. Nice pump fake. Kicks it out to Dort. In and out, no good. Giannis at the top of the key, bringing it down. Nice pass down low. Kuzma, in and out, no good. And then Giannis with the offensive rebound. Giannis to the line for two. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Wednesday. And, I already knew the Thunder, was going to win this game. They were 12.5-point favorites. But again, they're the funnest team to watch as far as team basketball, whether you're a super fan of the NBA or you're a fair weather fan and, you're just trying to, go through the motions as we're getting to the end of the, NBA transition of the football season ending and then basketball and NHL being in full swing. But again, I was hoping that Giannis was going to have a big game. But honestly, even if Giannis ended up having a 30, 15, and 15 game or even higher stats of that nature, still not going to be enough to, compete with the Thunder, it seems like. Second free throw. In and out, no good. 1 of 2 from the line. It's been struggling at the line as of late. SGA at the top of the key. Crossover. Layup with the right hand on that left-hand side, and it is good. Nice floating layup there by SGA. 74-56, Thunder. Giannis at the top of the key. Giannis trying to post up. Good defense there by Dort. And Dort with the foul. Well, Sonics are coming back. I'll definitely do Sonics. Sonics Blazers, Sonics Lakers. The I-5 rivalry was always something, fantastic to watch. And, even though, I'm a Blazer fan, I watched a lot of Sonics games. A lot of Gary Payton, a lot of Sean Kemp, a lot of Detlef Schrempf. And again, it's something that, should have never left. Floater is good by Kyle Kuzma. Ryan Rollins with the assist. SGA at the top of the key with a pick and roll with Dort. Double team. Now triple team on SGA. Floater is good. 15-foot step back jump shot by SGA while he's triple teamed. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. He can do it all. Giannis to Portis. Top of the key. A little crossover there. Wide open three for Portis. In and out, no good. 26-foot three-point jumper in and out. Chet with the rebound. And Bobby Portis with the foul. I mean, obviously I like doing, the Mariners is my favorite, and obviously doing college football, NFL is right below that, and then obviously as filler streams, NBA, NHL with the Kraken or other good teams, WWE, NASCAR, AEW. So there's other things that we'll be able to do this month and next month while we wait for the Mariners to come back. But, everyone, just like, every other, super fan or fanatic of sports, there's going to be certain things that we like a little bit more than others, but other things that we can tolerate and kind of get up for. Portis with the personal foul with a little bit of an elbow there. Things getting a little chippy here in the game between Wallace and Portis. And then Wallace with the shove to the chest after getting elbowed in the face. So we'll see what kind of technical foul or what kind of issue we have here. I mean, Portis kind of hit him with a little, I don't know if it was really a cheap shot. And then afterwards, Wallace, after, everyone's kind of getting separated from each other, comes in as he's like pretending to walk away and then comes in with a shove. So maybe we'll get technical fouls on both players. That seems fair, but we'll find out. Judah in the building. What's good? But I decided instead of using, old school basketball cards like I normally do with the football and the baseball streams, I figured I would come up with, something special for each, NBA game that I do. So, we'll have the NBA logo at the top. I'll swap out the logos underneath, based on the game that we're watching. And then I'll end up getting an image that I usually use for like a thumbnail. And then I'll use the top stars, as you can see, obviously with SGA on one side and Giannis on the other. And I'll do that every game. So, it takes a little bit more work, but I think that, putting in a little bit more time and energy to make something look good, it's worth the time. And I'm really happy on the way it turned out. Originally, I was going to do, the logos of all the 30 teams, kind of spread all on the sides, of the stream there. But then it didn't really look the way that I envisioned it. Kind of like those old school skater jackets, that had like the repeated logo all over the jacket that looked fire back in the day. But I still may, play around with it. And then I was thinking about doing, more than one player image scattered on the side. But after, kind of going through the brainstorming, kind of phase, I thought, NBA logo at the top, team underneath, and then a big, image for each superstar, and it looks really good. So again, sometimes the creativity process, you have an idea in your head, but then you have to be able to pivot. And I think that doing this moving forward, whether I'm doing NHL or NBA, I think that's what we're going to do. And then obviously when we end up doing NASCAR, I could end up doing kind of a similar setup as well with drivers on each side. And then we'll still continue to use the football cards and the baseball cards for those streams, but I could also flip it and do it for Mariners as well, where we could do MLB logo, who's playing, and then I could put like Julio or Cal or whoever's pitching on one side, like Brian Wu, and then a really good player on the other side. So there's definitely room to be able to kind of, pivot and adjust to make things look good for not only me, but for you guys as well. All right, AJ Green with the technical free throw. And again, a little bit of a forearm chip shot there, and then a little push there late. So Case and Wallace with the technical foul. So technicals on both sides, like I mentioned. And Case and Wallace misses his free throw with the flagrant 1 of 2. Yeah, but I think this look, for future streams could definitely be something. It'll take a lot more time and energy and whatnot, but as long as I prep early enough, I think it would be something that would look very good. th place in the East there for Milwaukee, which is wild. $79-59 OKC. Thunder inbound the ball. Dort at the top of the key. Chet, nice backdoor cut. They feed him. Up and under by Chet. Layup with that finger roll in and out, no good. It doesn't get the call. Giannis. Wow. Up and under with a beautiful layup is good. Nice job there by Giannis. Yeah, well, they did text for both, so. Dort with a nice 12-foot jumper. Chet Holmgren with the assist. I mean, if you're going to throw on a forearm, and then you end up getting shoved after the play, later, both guys deserve text. There's no doubt about that. Giannis posting up Dort, double teamed and poked away. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Milwaukee inbounds the ball. Kuzma. Rollins is there. In and out, no good. SGA. Crossover. Up and under with the left. In and out, no good. Ooh. Fast break here for Milwaukee. Kuzma at the top of the key, off the glass, and good. And one. Nice job there by Kuzma. Yeah, so we had a technical on one and then a flagrant on the other. So Kuzma the 7, 3 for 9, 2 rebounds. Floater up and under by SGA, fouled, no call. Milwaukee on the fast break. Good ball movement there. AJ Green with a 25-foot running jump shot. Portis with the assist. Thunder at the top of the key. Good defense there by Milwaukee. SGA. Gilgeous-Alexander. Ridiculous. Big jumper there by SGA is good. Kuzma up and under, no good. Dort snatches that board, 2-on-2. Chet at the top of the key, open 3. Front rim, in and out, no good. Rebound by Giannis. Push the ball up the floor. Rollins. Wallace with the steal. Layup is good. Cason Wallace with a nice layup by SGA with the assist. Giannis at the top of the key. 2-man game with Portis. And nice jumper there by Giannis. 22 foot jumper by Giannis. Bobby Portis with the assist. 83-67. Thunder. And SGA gets hit on the wrist by Bobby Portis. And that's going to be a Milwaukee full timeout. Yeah, they did one tech and one flagrant, and that kind of makes sense. Could have been a tech on each, but after, the play ended and then you end up going after the player, obviously that individual ended up getting the flagrant, which was the correct call. So, all right, it's 83-67 Thunder, and the Thunder were favored by 12.5, which seems like it's, very possible that they're going to win by more than 13. And depending on if they can get on a good run in the fourth quarter, they could end up winning by 20 or 30. I mean, we definitely have seen the Thunder do those types of things pretty often, but at least Milwaukee is trying to hang around, and they've been able to go on a few runs, but just when they feel like they're starting to kind of break through, you obviously know what happens on the flip side with the Thunder. I mean, they have so many good players and they get the job done. 83-67, 6:10 left in the third quarter. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Really? That's crazy. Yeah, we haven't had any snow. Typically, in the Pacific Northwest, we don't get snow until usually February, sometimes even March, and it usually only lasts for a couple days, and it's usually, maybe 4 inches of snow or less, and then every maybe 5 to 10 years, maybe we will get over 5 inches of snow, sometimes, 8, 9, something like that, and then lasts for 5 days, 6 days, and then some of it melts, and then when freezing rain, and then a little bit more snow. But it's very rare to have a big snowstorm like you've seen, obviously, in Russia, having that record fall of snow where people are jumping off the top of their building, into, freshly powdered snow, which is crazy. But, that's the most snow that they've ever gotten in obviously recent memory and whatnot, hitting the record books. But, it would be nice to be able to get a little bit of snow here, but the weather has been cold when me and Paisley are, going on walks. This morning we went and it was 20 fucking degrees. So it's wind is blowing a little bit and it's chilly, but the sun is out. So again, I don't mind it being a little bit cold and whatnot, but stay safe out there if you're going to end up getting a lot of snow. How much snow do you think you're going to get? Obviously, you living out, in the Northeast, you guys are definitely going to get hit with it a lot more than us here. So. Chet and Bobby. Still early, though. I mean, at this point, Bobby's probably the number 2 option, with Giannis at this point. And then, obviously, with Chet, normally he's the number 2 guy to SGA, but the Thunder just distribute the ball so evenly. Sometimes, Chet's going to be the number 2 scoring, threat on the Thunder, and sometimes he's going to be 3rd or 4th or even 5th. And again, some of these individuals have stepped up in more ways than one here. Thunder inbound the ball, top of the key. SGA kicks it out, wide open 3. In and out, no good. Rebound here by the Bucks. Isaiah Joe enters the game for Case and Wallace. Giannis up and under. Rejected by Chet. Nice job by Holmgren. SGA with the rebound. SGA 1-on-3. SGA slips through the defense. So slippery with the left and one. Beautiful. And again, the body control for a lot of these guys is just unbelievable. To be able to take the hit, just like Kobe and Jordan used to do back in the day. SGA as slippery as they come. And then again, to be able to take the contact and to be able to make layups with your left hand, your offhand, it's a beautiful thing to see. Nice job there by SGA, imposing his will. Wow, 10 inches to a foot. Holy moly, stay safe out there. That's a lot of snow. And the and one from SGA is good. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is something special, let me tell you. But again, 35-5. Only other guy averaging big numbers like that is Denny from the Blazers. So, definitely excited to see Denny in the All-Star game this year. Left-handed layup off the glass, in and out, no good. No foul call there for the Thunder. Giannis on the other end. Pump fake. Nice pass. Swing it. Nance for 3. In and out, no good. 24-foot three-point jumper by Pete Nance is no good. And now SGA back on the other end. 2-man game here with Chet. Floater over the top. I don't know about that. And then Rollins with the personal foul. And SGA is trying to go over the top, but Chet kind of goes over the top, himself. So if anything, that kind of looked like an offensive foul rather than a defensive foul, honestly. No challenge by Doc Rivers there on the Milwaukee side. SGA, pick and roll, double teamed. Spin move. Wide open three. In and out, no good. And nice rebound there by Milwaukee. Push. Giannis. Cole Anthony. Floater. And it dribbles in as good. 7-foot driving floating jump shot there by Cole Anthony. Giannis with the assist. Thunder at the top of the key. 87-69 in firm control here. Nice pump fake. Up and under by Chet. And then Pete Nance with the reach-in foul. And great job by the Kraken being up 3-1 on the Islanders. 3:32 left in the second period. And I kind of felt that they were going to get back to their winning ways, only winning 1 game out of 5 on the road trip. But the Kraken are going to make the playoffs this year, which is fantastic. And sometimes you got to get rid of the old school vibes and, change up the coach and, bring in some new pieces. And, I'm happy that they're getting back on track here tonight. And that's on TNT right now as well. Knicks, Sixers, Warriors, T-Wolves, and Lakers, Mavericks. We'll end up doing one of those games on Saturday since the AFC NFC championship game is on Sunday. So we'll probably be doing NBA, almost every day the rest of the week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then obviously AFC NFC championship game on Sunday, and then obviously getting back to the NBA probably on Monday until we get to February, where we'll do a little NASCAR as well. Holmgren makes that second free throw, and we're back here with Milwaukee at the top of the key. Giannis hit the bench for the end of this third quarter, so they're going to have to find someone to give him some life. And a nice three-point jumper by Andre Jackson Jr. coming in. Bobby Portis with the assist. That's exactly what they needed, especially if Giannis is going to be on the bench for the last 3 minutes of the third quarter. They need someone to give them some life. Pick and roll with Chet. Reach-in foul there by Milwaukee. No call. And it's going to be Thunder with a full timeout. All right, 3:41 left in the third quarter, 88-72. And again, you don't expect Milwaukee to be too close. But again, they have had a few runs in the second and third quarter after getting kind of obliterated in the first quarter. But that's just what the Thunder do. I mean, they're 36-8. Best record in the NBA, 16-5 on the road. So again, which is the best record on the road. And again, they have the most depth. And on top of that, they have like 5 or 6 key guys that are hurt, and they're still able to play like this. That's what makes them realistically the front runner, to be able to win the championship. But again, the Spurs are really the only team that have given them problems this year. Spurs have won 3 out of 4. First 3, San Antonio won, but obviously the OKC Thunder ended up getting the last one recently. But Aaron Wiggins out with the groin, Jalen Williams out with the back, Alex Caruso out with the thigh, Isaiah Hartenstein, the scrapper down low, out with the calf, and then the other Jalen Williams out with the hamstring. I mean, think about those key guys. If those guys are, playing, what's the score at right now? They're well over 100, right? And then obviously, if those guys are out for another team, how detrimental would that be? It would be huge. And again, there's not very many teams that can kind of keep up with the Thunder or understand the formula on how to be able to go at them. And obviously the Spurs have figured it out, but no one else really has. The Blazers gave them the first loss when we were down by 20-plus points in the first quarter, came back and won that game. Spurs have won 3 out of 4 against them, to account for some of those losses. But again, 36-8, they're pacing to lose only a few more games, for the rest of the regular season. 36-8, 16-5 on the road. The Thunder, the Bucks with Giannis, 18-24, 9-10 at home. That's wild. To see a team led by Giannis, but again, and they have a few injuries, but not as significant as the Thunder, but still significant names. Kevin Porter Jr. out with the oblique, Miles Turner out with the ankle, and then obviously Taurean Prince out with the neck. And if they had those 3 guys, maybe this game is a little bit closer as well. But again, it just doesn't really feel like Giannis is like fully invested, and again, maybe this 18-24 record and, the trade rumors. And I mean, it definitely feels like a lot has been getting to him this season, and we'll find out if he gets traded at the deadline, and if not at the deadline, possibly in the near future. So. $88-72 Thunder, 3:41 left in the third quarter. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. I hear Paisley at the door. Give me a second. I'll get you a snack in a second, okay? My pup came in asking for a snack. Yeah, well, after what the Dodgers did, with Kyle Tucker and whatnot, we assume that there's going to be, possibly, some restructuring with the salary cap, because it is kind of getting ridiculous now. They already got Edwin Diaz, one of the top 5 closers, and then just got Kyle Tucker on top of that. So SGA with the rebound at the top of the key. Wide open. Nice. Big 3 there. Pick and roll here with the Bucks at the top of the key. Almost a travel, not called. Portis looking for someone to get open here. Spin move. Open 3. Shot clock at 1. In and out, no good. SGA at the top of the key. Poked away. And that's going to be out of bounds by Cole Anthony. Yeah, well, you got to have a team. It can't just be Luka and LeBron, and again, injuries have hurt them a little bit too, but it's all about, egos, and if you have them or if you don't, and then chemistry and also depth, so it's like you're going to be able to put butts in the seats, with obviously Luka and LeBron, but as far as like winning anything significant, that's never going to happen with those two. Like, no one anticipates them winning a championship or anything like that. I mean, obviously LeBron is, getting to the point where it's, he's at the end of his career. So still a guy that can put up 20 points pretty easily, even at his age, but, it doesn't really feel like it's the fantastic fit. But once he goes, they'll be able to build around Luka, and we'll see what happens with them. First free throw by SGA is good. But the West is so much deeper than the East. There's no doubt about that. Second free throw rattles in and is good. Anthony here at the top of the key. Crossover. Swing it. Nance. And Nance tried to go with kind of an awkward bounce pass to Portis, and that is going to be a turnover, Milwaukee. SGA walking the ball up the floor, pick and roll, floater, and gets hit on the wrist there by Bobby Portis, and SGA to the line. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how everything, shakes out. And obviously the Mets are, cashing in on obviously a lot of their guys leaving and then them kind of retooling. But just because they got Bichette and a few others like Polo, doesn't mean that, Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto are going to go to the World Series with these new additions. The new additions are kind of sexy, but again, the Mets kind of have this thing where they spend money like the Dodgers, but they don't get the results like the Dodgers. They spend a shitload of money, but the chemistry with the players coming together usually isn't a good fit, but it might be a good fit with the guys they got this year. We'll have to wait and find out, but it'll be interesting to see how Bichette and Polo and the others that they've newly acquired, how they fit in with Lindor and Soto. Free throw is good. Cross-court pass, open three, bang, is good. SGA, spin move, kicks it out. Good ball movement here by the Thunder. Swing it. Layup, in and out, contested, no good. Fast break here for Giannis, back in the game. Takes a bump, no call. Giannis, top of the key. Pick and roll, now double team on Giannis. And you can definitely feel that he wants to shoot here. Good pass down low. And Portis with the reverse layup, in and out, no good. That was a gimme by Portis. SGA at the top of the key. Portis, and off the glass is good. Gilgeous-Alexander with another layup with that bank. 99-77. Thunder. Floater. Wow. All right, we're coming to the end of the third quarter here. Open three. In and out, no good. SGA. Good ball movement here. Dort down low. Carlson, front rim, in and out, no good. Yeah, I can't wait for the Mariners either. And they got the Bryce Miller deal done yesterday or the day before, so we don't have to worry about any issues with any lingering contracts or anything. And that's going to be the end of the third quarter, 99-77 Thunder. Yeah, I mean, even after the World Series ended, I mean, again, it's just exciting that we're relevant now. 2022 was great. Obviously, 2023, 2024, we're trying to get back to where we had that magic. And then obviously the amazing season that we had last year. And again, as long as we can continue to get better and better, it feels like, the Blue Jays and the Mariners should be top contenders, in the American League again. And, hopefully we'll be able to go a little bit further. And, Toronto's thinking the same thing. They almost won a World Series. And honestly, we were very, very close on, taking their place. I'm not sure if we would have, gone to Game 7. Probably would have only made it to like Game 6, considering the injuries and some of the stuff that we had that we were dealing with. But, just definitely a proud year, to be able to look back on. And again, you have to realize, we went like 20 plus years without making the playoffs. And then in 2022, Cal Raleigh changed all that. And then now moving forward with Cal and Julio and Wu and Gilbert and Kirby and everyone else, it's very exciting. Probably the most exciting, time period to be a Mariner fan. Maybe even in the Griffey era, we knew that there were going to be times that we might be able to make the playoffs. But I don't think, even back when I was a kid with Randy Johnson or Griffey, it never really felt like we were good enough to go all the way and win it all or even get to the World Series. But now with this team that we've constructed, within the last few years, it definitely feels like we can get there and we can win. It's just, can we, get enough pieces, and can we be buyers, at the trade deadline every year and make sure that we add on to the team, like we did with Naylor and with Gino. We're going to need to keep doing that every single year. Make the smart moves in the offseason, get bullpen pitching. Don't worry about signing positional players. We have plenty of those, right? And then wait for the farm guys to come up. Colt Emerson should be the best one. He'll be better than Cole Young, better than Ben Williamson. And again, when JP Crawford, ends up getting injured or a little bit older, Colt will be the starting shortstop for the team, and he can play short, second or third, or even DH. So it's kind of exciting to see where it's going to go. But the number one thing was re-sign Josh Naylor. We did that. And again, Polo off to the Mets. We'll see where Gino lands. And again, I'm very excited of the upcoming season. First, spring training game for the Mariners will be February 20th. Still don't know if anything is going to be televised. And a lot of the spring training games aren't. But if any of them are, I definitely will do them. And again, just patiently waiting for baseball season to get back going. And we'll be doing a lot of that here on the channel. But in the meantime, we'll do a lot of NBA. We'll do a little bit of NASCAR, a little bit of NHL, and maybe WWE, maybe. And then once we get into, obviously, February, March, we'll have World Baseball Classic at the beginning of March. And then obviously the actual, regular season for the MLB. And once that starts, we'll be doing Mariner baseball here on the channel every day for 6-7 months straight. So, and that's my favorite time of year because I like the consistency. Instead of thinking, what do we do today? What do we do tomorrow? It's pretty much, a Mariner game every day. So, and then once we get a little bit further into the season, where it gets kind of towards the end, then football season starts. And then we can sprinkle in a little NFL and college football with the Mariners. And that ends up being, the best time of the year. All right, we're going into the fourth quarter here. Yeah, everyone is locked in. It feels like, I have to go through the details on the years and the money, but everyone is pretty much, good to go for the most part. And if they're not good to go yet, in a year or two, they're going to get the deal done for like Logan Gilbert. Really, the only guy that we need to let go or trade if we could is Castillo. But everyone else, Miller, Wu, Gilbert, Kirby, are going to be here for a long time. And then on top of that, we got Cade Anderson from LSU, the draft pick. And eventually he'll take Castillo's spot, and he'll be like the new Brian Wu, who started off 5th in the rotation. Corner 3 is good. Wow. Big 3 there by Williams. Fadeaway 3 in the corner. That was insane. Kenrich Williams there with 16 points, 7 for 11, 2 for 4 from deep. And that's the type of players that they have. Kind of no-name guys that put up 10 to 15 points or more. It's just crazy. Green, corner 3 is good. Bang! But again, it kind of depends on where they want to go. But, if they go based on how the players have played lately, you go Wu 1, Gilbert 2, Kirby 3, Miller 4, Castillo 5. But you can move some of those guys around. But, based off skill set and talent, that's probably where you would want to go. But if you ended up going Gilbert 1, Kirby 2, Wu 3, you could do that also. But Wu definitely has been our best pitcher for the most part within the last year and a half. So, but again, we have to hope that nobody gets injured. Nice layup there is good. Thunder back here at the top of the key, running a pick and roll. Outside shot, in and out, no good. Chet with the rebound. Anthony with the foul. Loose ball foul by Cole Anthony. Thunder inbound the ball to Chet at the top of the key. Chet with a spin move. Finds Dort. He's open. Bang! 24-foot three-point jumper by Dort. Chet Holmgren with the assist. And we'll see what Milwaukee does here with Anthony running a pick and roll. Anthony, good pass. Open 3 in the corner. In and out, no good by Green. Dort with the rebound. 105-85, OKC. Dort with the pump fake after the crossover. Kicks it back out. And pass a little bit too high there from Williams. And that's going to be a turnover. Milwaukee ball. Got about 9 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. OKC in firm control, up by 20. Could be up by 30, based on this game, but, they're giving certain guys rest. Giannis, nice pass to Portis. Floater, in and out, no good. Rebound by the Thunder. Reach-in foul here by Milwaukee. All right, Ryan Rollins enters the game here for Cole Anthony. Inbound pass here to Chet at the top of the key. Chet gets checked. No foul call there. I don't know what the refs were looking at there. Pass down low to Giannis, and then Dort with the foul. Giannis hits the deck. And a reach-in foul there by Dort. Dort with his fourth personal. SGA back into the game. Yeah, and starters are going to be playing pretty much the whole way. You know, maybe not like the last 2 minutes, but I would assume in this, nice 5-6 minute run, you're still going to have the starters out there. Pick and roll here with Milwaukee at the top of the key. Green with a three, in and out, no good. Chet with the rebound, hands off to SGA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Jumper. Fall-away jumper is good. 14-foot step-back jump shot by SGA, and that's going to go into a Milwaukee full timeout. 107-85 Thunder. .8:26 left in the fourth quarter. 107-85 Thunder. Let's take a look at the box score here real quick. All right, so Chet's got 10 points, 7 boards. SGA is looking at 32-10. God, he's a machine. Dort's at 13-4. Case and Wallace is at 6-2. And then AJ Mitchell had a fantastic first half, 18 points. And then on the bench, Williams with 16, Joe with 5, and Carlson with 7. I mean, just so well-rounded. And then as far as Milwaukee is concerned, Giannis only has 28 minutes on a minute restriction, 15 points, 6 for 8. So at least he's shooting well, but 15 points, 12 boards, 5 assists, but that's not going to be enough to beat, the Thunder. Kuzma with 7. Gary Harris with 3, AJ Green with 10, Ryan Rollins with 7, and on their bench, they actually have some pretty good production. Portis with 12, 5, and 6, Nance with 11, and then they have Cole Anthony with 17 off the bench, but still not enough to keep up with the number 1 team in the land, the OKC Thunder. We got 8:26 left here in the fourth quarter, 107-85. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. All right, going into the third period, cracking up 3-1 on the Islanders. I love that. And then let's take a look at the schedule tomorrow. All right, so on Prime tomorrow, we got a doubleheader. We got the Warriors and the Mavericks and the Lakers and the Clippers. So we'll probably do the Warriors and the Mavericks so I can see Cooper Flagg and Steph Curry. So that'll be at 4:30 Pacific on Prime tomorrow. So we're going to probably try to do a game each day, just depending on the schedule and how it looks. But that's, I think, going to be, because we're typically going to be doing games on, ESPN or Prime, so that way others can watch as well, instead of just me doing like a random game and whatnot. So, we want to have an opportunity for more people to come together and watch and enjoy, obviously what we're watching, at the moment. And I think that's what we're going to end up doing tomorrow. So 4:30 Pacific, Warriors versus the Mavericks. A little Steph Curry versus Cooper Flag. And I'm going to be down for that. All right, Milwaukee bringing the ball up the floor. Down by 22 plus. Giannis at the top of the key. Kicks it out for three. Bang, and good. AJ Green with the nice three there from Giannis with the assist. SGA walking the ball up the floor. Pick and roll. SGA. And tipped and stolen. SGA with the turnover and stolen right back. Back to SGA with the flush. Two-handed dunk. Beautiful. A little sloppy play here by both teams in the fourth quarter. But after SGA gets the ball poked away, Thunder get it right back with a dunk. Nance to Giannis. Kicks it to the corner for a three for Portis. In and out, no good. And SGA with the rebound. At the top of the key, defended by Nance, which is a mismatch. Chet in the corner with the pump fake. Chet for three. Airballed that three-pointer. Fast break here for Giannis. Giannis coast to coast with the push-off. No call there. Should have been an offensive foul. Portis with the loose ball. Portis down to Giannis. Giannis with the travel again. And then a big one-handed dunk. I don't understand where, they don't call these offensive fouls on Giannis and the traveling. I get it. He's still like a superstar, but a lot of them are very blatant with the forearm extended or him shuffling his feet, kind of wild, and it's a little uncharacteristic for him, but floater. In and out, no good. Rebounded by Nance and poked away. Giannis with the ball. Coast to coast. Giannis with the left-handed flush. Wow. AJ Green with the assist. Back-to-back facials for Giannis. And again, obviously getting a little bit more aggressive offensively. But, when you are down by 17 points now. But a good effort for any fan of Milwaukee or Giannis here late. They're not just rolling over. But again, even with back-to-back dunks by Giannis there, not enough to be able to get it close at this point. 109-92 with 6:19 left in the fourth quarter. Thunder with a full timeout. Number 9 on the Bucks is Bobby Portis. And 7 would be Chet Holmgren. .619 left in the fourth quarter. 109-92 Thunder. And obviously the Thunder were favored by 12.5 on the Vegas line and easily could win this game by 20 or more. Role players have played well, but at least you're starting to see Giannis and Portis and a few others, try to keep it somewhat close. Giannis with 19, 13 and 6. AJ Green with 13, Rollins with 7, Portis with 12, Nance with 11. But again, on the flip side, Holmgren with 10, SGA with 34. Started off really slow, but really picked it up. He's at 34, 10 and 6. He's just, an animal, SGA. And then Dort with 13, Wallace with 6, Joe with 5. So obviously they have some of the other, bench guys and rotational guys in, but that's what makes the Thunder so good. They literally can play anybody in their starting 5 and they can match up, it seems like, with anybody in the league. And the only team that's really figured them out is Wemby and the Spurs, winning 3 out of 4. So I really want to see Spurs and OKC in the Western Conference Final. And then obviously on the East, that's kind of yet to be determined. Obviously we know the Pistons have been incredible, with Cade Cunningham and whatnot. But, what about, the other teams in the East? Like, who else can we count on? Pistons are great. Celtics are good. Knicks and Raptors are competitive. Cavs and Sixers as well. And then the back end, you got the Magic, the Heat, the Bulls, and the Hawks. But it kind of feels like, Pistons, Celtics, Knicks, those are the top dogs, at the moment. So, but it doesn't really feel like any of those teams could hang with the West. Pistons, are 32-10. They're great. Celtics 27-16, Knicks 26-18, but Thunder, Spurs, Nuggets, and the Nuggets don't even have the Joker. Rockets with KD, Lakers with Luka and LeBron, Phoenix Suns, T-Wolves, Golden State, Blazers. So again, the West is quite a bit deeper, than the East, but we'll see what happens. If it ends up being the Pistons, the Celtics, or the Knicks, they may end up winning a couple games in the finals, but I don't think there's any team there that could win 3 or more. And I guess if you had to choose one right now, you would say Celtics or Pistons, but I don't know. Kind of depends on, the Thunder are on a whole nother level. Less than 6 minutes to go here. Milwaukee with the ball here at the top of the key. Portis looking for Giannis. Dort jumps in and steals that ball. Tips it to Chet. Chet at the top of the key. Nice little hesitation. Jumper. In and out, no good. No foul call there. Giannis, one-on-one. Nice pass to Portis in the corner. Wide open 3. Bang! And a nice job there by Bobby Portis. 23-foot three-point jumper assisted by Giannis. And now we'll see what SGA does here in return. You're going star for star here. Top of the key, SGA. One-on-one. And SGA one-on-one is a magician with the left, off the glass, and good. And that's going to turn into a full timeout for Milwaukee. And SGA started off really slow in the game, but now is on pace to hit 40 points. And again, he's not doing it in the same kind of way like Jordan and Kobe would do it, where sometimes they would just kind of take over the game and, shoot every shot one after the next, after the next, after the next. But, there are times where SGA will take, 3 or 4 shots in a row. But for the most part, he does look for the teammates. And Jordan and Kobe did the same. But, obviously when you're so dominant at scoring and that no one can stop you, I don't blame Jordan and Kobe for doing what they did. And that's why they're the 2 best players that have played in the NBA as far as clutch factor and overall greatness that we've seen in the last, 30, 40 years. Now we've had some amazing all-around players, like LeBron James, that would do it all, or like Larry Bird, but again, if we're talking about that clutch factor, that Mamba mentality, we don't really have too many guys in the league, like Kobe and Jordan, and we may never have another Kobe or Jordan type. We're always going to be able to get the, sensational center in Wemby, SGA trying to kind of fall into the footsteps of Kobe and Jordan. LeBron obviously kind of coming to the end of his career with KD. First ballot Hall of Famers, no doubt about that. But the face of the league and the faces of the league are quite a bit different from, when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s. But again, SGA, Anthony Edwards, Luka, Wemby, there's still a lot of amazing talent, some young and some getting a little bit older. But again, can't wait for tomorrow as well with Steph and Cooper Flag. All right, here we go. Last 5 minutes to go. We know that Milwaukee isn't coming back, but at least for pride, hopefully they can get at least a 105. AJ Green with the jumper and good. $115.97 OKC. SGA at the top of the key. Double team. Portis coming over to late. Off the glass and good. Should have been and one for SGA. He's complaining to the refs, and that was a legitimate beef, but doesn't get the call. Portis at the top of the key. Only 5 points for SGA in the first quarter. And now he's at 40, 10, and 7. This is ridiculous on how good he is. SGA And he doesn't force bad shots. That's what makes him so special, too. I don't think I've seen one really forced bad shot all game. Wide open three. In and out, no good. Kuzma up and under with the layup. Reverse layup is good. SGA, good ball movement. Up and under, swing it. Wide open three. Front rim, in and out, no good by Wallace. SGA with the offensive rebound. Looking for his third career triple-double. SGA at the top of the key. Passes it out. Wallace, open three, in and out, no good. Back-to-back, missing from deep from Wallace. Kuzma to Portis. Portis, isolation. One-on-one, two-man game. Rollins for three, and it's good. Bobby Portis with the assist, and a nice 24 three-point jumper by Ryan Rollins. 117-102, Thunder. SGA at the top of the key. Nice pass, down low, layup is good. Great vision. Just when they think SGA is going to ball hog it, he ends up looking up the court and finding an open man. Great layup there. And now we have a kick ball. Now Isaiah Joe coming into the game for Dort. And now SGA making his way out. Giannis to the bench as well. Fantastic game by SGA, which I knew he was going to, ball out like he always does. 40 points, 16 for 19, 6 for 7. No bad shots, no ball hogging. That's why this guy, if he wins a couple more championships, he'll be in that same category with some of the other past OGs, with, the Jordans and the Kobes and the Drexlers and the Dwayne Wades, as far as guys, 2, 3, 4, 5 championships, if, they can end up keeping this team somewhat together. Second career game with 40 and 10. That's what makes SGA so special. Again, he doesn't have to force, a lot of shots to be able to hit 30 or more. Probably the guy that makes it look so easy, compared to some guys that force so many bad shots. And then if you take 40 or 50 shots and you hit 30 or 40 points, well, no shit, you took like half the team shots. But, not really the case for SGA on any given night. Three is in and out and no good and goes out of bounds. Yeah, Giannis is out. And so is SGA. They both went to the sideline just about a minute ago, or 30 seconds ago. Yeah, Giannis is on limited minutes, though, so also you would have to, acknowledge that as well. Once he ends up playing regular minutes, him hitting 20 is easy, but that's kind of the thing. The reason some of those bets came out, is because he is on limited minutes. All right, less than 2 minutes to go here. Thunder. Wallace with the floater. Offensive board. Kick it out. Little two-man game here for the Thunder. Pass back at the top of the key. And Wallace with a big three. 120-102 Thunder. We're down to the last minute 30 less. Reach and foul by the Thunder. Dang enters the game for Cason Wallace, and Chris Youngblood comes in there for Isaiah Joe. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Stolen there by the Thunder. Fast break, 2-on-2, and then a reach-in foul. Andre Jackson with the reach-in foul for the Milwaukee Bucks. Only 9 turnovers for the Thunder with a lot of, inexperienced young guys. Alley-oop is good. Holy moly. Williams with the good vision. 122-102 after that sweet alley-oop by the Thunder. I mean, even the bench guys can get it done. It's just scary. Kicks it out. Milwaukee looking for an open man. Obviously, Giannis is out of the game as well as Portis, so not a whole lot to work with here. Corner 3, in and out, no good. Rebounded here by the Thunder, by Carlson. In and out and no good, and that is it. Final score, Oklahoma City Thunder 122, Milwaukee Bucks 102. Let's look at the final stat line there for SGA. 16 for 19, which is incredible. No forced shots all game. 6 for 7 from the line. And let's look to see what he had overall. Let me go to the box score here. All right, so SGA's final line, 33 minutes. He only had 5 points in the first quarter. 40 points, 16 for 19, 2 for 2 from deep, 6 for 7 from the free throw line, 11 assists, 7 boards, 1 steal. Unbelievable. And obviously the plus minus with him on the floor, plus 19, and that obviously makes sense. You know, he can take over a game single-handedly. Chet Holmgren with 10 points and 7 boards. But really, the X factor was in the first half. It was A.J. Mitchell with 18 points, averaging 14 for the game, during the season, and having 18 in the first half. That was really the difference. And again, if they didn't have that big game by A.J. Mitchell in the first half, maybe this game could have been a little bit closer. Thunder still would have won by 12 or more, but, at least, if Milwaukee can get Giannis on not limited minutes, obviously this game would have been a little bit closer. But congratulations to the Thunder for getting the job done again. And again, 36-8 coming into the game, 16-5 on the road, best record in the NBA, and they continue to dominate on a very day-to-day basis. And then tomorrow, we will end up doing schedule-wise, like I mentioned, it'll be on Prime with the doubleheader, and we will end up doing the Warriors and the Mavericks. That'll be at 4:30 Pacific on Prime. And then after that will be the Lakers and the Clippers. But we'll do the Warriors and Dallas to see Steph Curry and Cooper Flagg. So again, hopefully you guys will be able to come through and show some love. And hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit more support with the likes and the donos and the views. But I appreciate you guys. And again, we got to grind out some of these filler streams. And again, it takes a lot of time, effort, and energy. And hopefully we'll get a little bit more support moving forward. Well, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. Final score, Thunder 122, Bucks 102. And I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I'm out. Okay.